The Honorable Minister of Interior, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to call on the podium. The number one person when we're talking about NSCDC all over the Federation is our father, our role model. Is the one God has used to change the narrative of NSCDC. I call him a catalyst of positive change and pillar of strength to the national security. I'm talking about the third substantive Commandant General, Dr. Ahmed Abubakar Howdy, MNI OFR. A big round of applause for him as they come for him. Welcome, Ahmed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My boss, my mentor, my benefactor, my supervisor, a very energetic, very smart, and there's one word that I had in that time when we had a program when he was around. Very handsome. The Honorable Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubumi Ejojo, the representative of the SGF, very senior officers of the service, other personnel of the service, members of the 4th Estate of Berlin, our friends, the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today is another day that is so significant in the annals of history of this service. We all know that the Civil Defense Corps is just 2 decades old as far as coming into the proper security architecture of the nation. As it was rightly pointed out by the Commandant of the Center, the Corps started for a long time, dating back to around 1967, during the Civil War. And when you look at our act, it is very clearly stated that the Corps is in charge of providing security and safety for critical national assets and infrastructure of the nation. And we know that schools has been so adjudged to be a critical asset of the nation. Today marks the climax of the activities so far that we have been doing in the service as far as protection and providing security for schools is concerned. I'm delighted to welcome you to this NAV Conference Center, the venue for the summit. This event marks another milestone in our genuine effort towards tackling the challenges of insecurity around our schools and of course the host communities. The menace of violence and attacks on our schools in Nigeria is no longer news for us. For over a decade now, Nigeria has experienced deliberate targeting of education and instructional facilities, disrupting schools, and keeping children out of school. The danger of keeping children out of school continuously cannot be overemphasized. We're all aware that the nation is passing through a new conflict, which has been so far degraded and decimated. We all know, especially some of us who are coming from the security point of view, we all know that ultimately conflict is a conflict that has dealt with nations. It's a conflict that has created a lot of debilitating and devastating effects on the lives of the citizens and of course, on critical assets and infrastructure of nations. The case of it is the case of Sri Lanka, where the Tamil Tigers, who operated as individuals who were out to cause havoc as insurgents and terrorists, and they held Sri Lanka for about 2 decades. We have seen really that yes, that same conflict has metamorphosed itself in Nigeria. If you remember the history of how the insurgency started, you will have realized that we have entered the 2nd decade. But we have seen that really, yes, all services have realized that yes, we have to come together if really we want to nip this bugbear in the bud. So I think so far we have seen the scientific synergy that we have been seeing. The issue of synergy in terms of coordination, collaboration, and cooperation is very, very distinct and very conspicuous now, because we have realized that no service has the monopoly of any strategy. I want to commend the effort of government and various other groups that have in one way or the other attempted to provide solutions. The Safe Schools Declaration, which is a global intergovernmental political instrument that has provided countries the opportunity to express support for the protection of students, teachers, and schools from attacks during armed conflict, was endorsed by Nigeria in 2019. The Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning convened a high-level stakeholders consultative forum in April 2021 to galvanize funds and political support for the implementation of the Safe Schools Declaration, SSD for short. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, under my watch, played a very significant role that earned it the coordinating agency status in the implementation strategy for the Safe Schools Financial Plan. That was brought about from the consultative engagement. On assumption of duty as the Commandant General, sir, I was charged to see to the end of the school's attack by the then President through the Minister of Interior. Then I took a step to conduct a vulnerability survey study where we commissioned some research fellows, and the data revealed was so shocking that out of 81,000 schools then, at 2021, registered schools, only 22,000 were having security fence, perimeter fencing. And over 50 were left porous. And then out of these 81, only about 16,000 were having the presence of security men or security personnel. So that research made us to conclude that yes, our children are really very, very vulnerable. So we began. It was also in consideration of this role that the National Safe Schools Response Coordination Center was established and domiciled in the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. A whole society approach to addressing the education crisis in Nigeria was agreed upon by the multi-stakeholders participants. This resulted to the multiple attempts by either government, civil society organizations, humanitarian, and development partners. The 4th International Conference on Safe Schools was held in Abuja in October 2021. The policy on safety, security, and violence-free schools was developed and approved by the Federal Ministry of Education. The Safe Schools Declaration Training Guide for Nigerian Security and Human Rights Organizations. The SSD, as the Safe Schools Declaration Participants Manual for the Training of Security Agencies and Human Rights, are currently being used for training on protection of education. Civil society and other partner organizations like Save the Children International, Education in Emergency Working Group in Nigeria, Plan International, Global Coalition to Protect Education from Attacks, etc., etc., have also at various stages initiated programs in contribution towards the safety of schools in Nigeria. Despite the multiplicity of these interventions, sir, Nigeria is still grappling with the ugly challenge of schools attack, with the consequent rising rate of out-of-school children. We still have some pockets of this attack here and there, but I'd like to assure you, sir, that the center is doing its best to make sure that these attacks are curtailed. And in fact, if you have been following the trajectory of how these attacks have been staged, it has reduced very, very drastically. In February 2023, the National Safe Schools Response Coordination Center was flagged up by the then Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget of National Planning, Dr. Zainab Shafino Ahmed. Being a product of the National Plan on Safe Schools, the center is a critical component of the implementation strategy, with the responsibility of coordinating safety and security responses for schools and host communities. So what we did after we established the center, we created some platforms, that created a situation where we have our experts, core members, most of which are PhD holders, who champion and as a course that we gave them, and we target as schools community security vanguard. And the idea was that they should now draw a map, and then they will visit schools, engage them in some form of advocacy and conscientization, and they need to see that yes, we really need to come together and share intelligence. And I tell you, sir, this has really helped us. We have gotten reliable information as to suspicious movement and illegal movement of bad boys who are trying to stitch kidnapping, especially when they trace a victim that has what is called hostage value. And so we also engage community leaders, traditional rulers, even the youth in this advocacy. Is the whole concept about the whole society approach. The center has been performing incredibly well using the whole society approach in collaboration with all security agencies, civil society organizations, schools and host communities, government organs at federal, state, and local government levels, local and international partners and donor agencies have been collaborating together. The Federal Ministry of Education, which is the custodian of all schools, is also a major stakeholder and has been very supportive. I don't know whether Dr. Gideon is here. Madam, you're welcome. A very good partner and intellectual who has been very supportive in terms of research and guidance for the center. In accordance with the implementation strategy of the National Plan on Financing Self-School, the major activities for the center and the first phase of the plan includes advocacy, awareness, creation and capacity building for relevant stakeholders on safe schools project. That is the national plan for the implementation of the safe schools project. And I'd like to assure you, sir, the core under your watch has been following that plan and has implemented and conducted so far about 5 or 6 training in different geopolitical zones, and we have trained close to about 2,000 personnel, including vigilantes and other stakeholders, all with a view to really providing solutions on how to provide security and safety for our schools. This summit with the team tackling identified threats in Nigeria, in Nigeria's Safe Schools project, is organized by the Center in an attempt to address perceived threats militating against the successful implementation of the Safe Schools project in Nigeria. It is also intended to facilitate actions and to equip relevant stakeholders on the implementation of the Safe Schools project. On this note, sir, I want you all, I invite you, well-meaning participants, security and education experts, intellectuals, civil society and development partners, as well as strategic stakeholders to sincerely lend your voice in the contribution ensuring that the desired outcome for this summit is achieved. With this, sir, I'd like to raise my case here and to thank you also, sir, for your time. And then I wish everybody joining me back to this our destination. God bless Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. God bless National Safe Schools Coordination Response Center. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you, sir.